Okay, hello everyone. Hello, welcome. Um, Thank you for being here. I am obviously not BK Borison, but I promise to do my best to make sure that you have a great time tonight. My name is Destinee. Ooh, oh, I'm like, ooh, is that how a celebrity feels? This is cool. Thank you. Okay, so it is my pleasure to welcome you here today to City Bookshop for Rosie Danan. Do your worst. Can we have a round of applause? I mean, get excited, y'all. Get excited. Okay, so a few housekeeping things. I don't think there's anybody here who's never been here, but if this is your first time to the store, I hope it's the first of many. And just so you know, restrooms are upstairs and we have tons of events. I wouldn't say just like this one because this one is like really special after like so many years. But we do have tons of amazing events just like this one. You can find more about what we have going on our website. But I do want to highlight that next Saturday is. Does anybody know what next Saturday is? Oh yeah. So I hope you will make your way back to the store. We'll have some giveaways and some great things happening. We have some author books sellers. It's going to be a lot of fun. The following week, we have our holiday soiree. All the information about that is online. And that's going to be a lot of fun if you want recommendations for all of the people in your life, bookish and otherwise. And then on, I think it's December 5th, yeah, it's December 5th. We have Rebecca, Not Becky, which should be a really great event. And I think would appeal to probably many of you in this audience. So check it out. As I said, we have a lot going on there. And last but not least, if you haven't checked out one of our book clubs, go ahead and do that. It's a great way to create community. And a lot of my friends here are from romance book clubs. So woo, go ahead, really read your romance books. So yeah, I suggest that highly. Check it out. We have 14 of them, so there's something for everyone. All right. I think I covered everything. Silence your cell phones. Hello, virtual folks. I feel like there's quite a few of you. So welcome to you too. And we will be taking questions at the end from both the audience, and that includes you. So, all right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and introduce the lady of the hour. So, according to my loose calculations, I have been involved with around or maybe a little bit above 200 events at the store. But this one I'm really excited for a very specific reason, which is in 2020, I was like most of you looking for literature as a means of encouragement and fun. And I was reading an advanced copy of a book, and my friend Cecilia, who happens to be here, where's Ceci at? Where's she at? Where are you? Are you hiding? Oh, there you go. She texts our group chat and is like, I'm reading something that I think you would like. And I'm like, oh, I'm really liking what I'm reading. And she's like, but I'm reading something that I think you should look at this. And I was like, I guess. So I start reading it and I'm like, oh, you have me pegged. And it was The Roommate by Rosie Danan. Oh, yeah. So we have a lot of fans here. And when I tell you, it was just such a great moment because it introduced me to an author who has ended up being now an auto-buy author for me and who I really look for all of their amazing work, which includes Do Your Worst. It's no different at all. Reading this book, it's incredible, and I'm just so glad that we're all here to celebrate with Rosie. So, very quickly, her bio, as I'm done giving my spiel. She writes steamy, big hearted books about the trials and triumphs of modern love. Her work has been optioned for film as well as translated into 9 different languages and counting. When not writing, she enjoys jogging slowly to fast music, petting other people's dogs, and competing against herself in rounds of Chopped, using the miscellaneous ingredients occupying her fridge. Please join me in a huge round of applause for Rosie Danan. Come on down. We'll have to turn that one on. I don't think it's on right now.
Hello. Yes.
Yes, you're ready to go. So glad to have you, Rosie.
Thank you. And I did hear your amazing introduction through the door. And I was blushing. And I wanted to. Can I do like a tiny one about what it means to me to be here? Is that okay?
It's your show.
I won't go wild. But in case probably people don't know this, but City Books was actually my first event ever. You guys did the roommate launch event.
Yes.
It was deep in the dark September of 2020. And I didn't know any better. Like, I didn't know what a book launch was like. And you guys just made me feel so special and welcomed. And I just will never forget it. So it's just amazing to be here for the first time in person and with you specifically, because you've been such a huge advocate for that book and for all my work. So just thanks for having me, and thanks everyone for coming.
Thank you, Rosie. Okay, avoiding the vapors. All right. So, okay, just straight into this. How was writing this book similar or different to your other two books, which are in the same universe? This one is not. So I'm just curious what that pivot was like for you.
Yeah, it was a pretty big departure. The Roommate was actually the first book that I ever wrote. So I didn't really like know what it was like to have writer's block or to have to kind of like find your way to an idea. Like, I wrote The Roommate to see if I could write a novel. I was like, okay, great job. And then with the Intimacy Experiment, it was a spinoff, and it was, you know, my editors actually coming in even before that book came out and saying, we really like Naomi. We'd like a book about her. And in some ways, I felt like I was going to beat that second book curse that's sort of infamous around writers, because I thought, like, I'm just going to slide in there and like, this feels really good. That third book coming and got me. So I actually wrote a book before this book that I ended up shelving. Yes. And that was like, again, a lot of authors, like they shelve a book maybe before their first book gets published. I had that experience for the first time when I had two books already out there. And it was the reason I didn't like want to bring that book fully to publication. And it was my decision. Like, my editorial team was supportive of that. Is it was a really sad book, like tonally, thematically, and it had a happy ending. Of course, it was a romance novel, but I was struggling writing it in 2021 to sit in that headspace every day. And I just felt like I had lost what had brought me to writing romance, which was this like call to explore and to find joy. And so I kind of put that book aside, and maybe it'll find a new life someday. And I just started writing down my favorite stories. I said, I'm going to find my next idea out of like the roots of the things that I love most in romance. And I wrote, it was everything from like romance novels to movies to TV shows. And when I was looking at that list, there was a ton of paranormal. It was like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Charmed and Xena Warrior Princess and The Mummy 1999. If you know me, you know that it's formative. So I was like, okay, you know what? Like, the pandemic is so like oppressive, and not just the pandemic. Sometimes it just feels like the world is cursed. And I thought, like, there's something really hopeful about the idea of a curse breaker coming in and going up against these things that seem unknowable and impossible and finding a way through. And so that was how I found that idea. And in terms of writing, world building, magical systems, holy macaroni, that is hard. And I really was so naive. I thought that like owning all the box sets of Buffy was gonna prepare me. I was like, I've got this. She did not have it, is like the subtext there. But I feel like I really built up a new muscle, this like world building muscle. And I feel really grateful for that. So big departure from the previous two books, which do have world building, but contemporary world building is just different. So I'd say that was the biggest departure.
Here's some more potential paranormal. I'm out here in the wings. Just okay, I'm here for it. Okay, so Rosie Danan is writing Do Your Worst, and she's Googling things. What are the top 3 things that Rosie Danan is Googling?
I'll maybe start with like the more PG ones first. I did Google a lot about archaeology, and a couple of archaeologists have said to me that I got the details right, which is
high praise.
And my sort of like secret to that, because they were like, have you been on digs before? I'm like, no, outside of again watching The Mummy a lot. I actually, like, one of my research tips is that I look at Reddit AMAs. And that was actually how I learned a lot about the adult entertainment industry when I was writing my first 2 books. And that is how I learned about archaeology, a less interesting field, I will say, than adult entertainment. Not as fun to Google. So there was a lot of that. I actually didn't Google curses as much as you would think, but I actually did go on a research trip, my first, to the Highlands.
Ooh,
which was
say
amazing. I was living in London at the time, and so going to Scotland for like a long weekend was feasible. And I was like, we're gonna do that. So my husband and I went, and we actually went on like this guided Scottish tour where this like local gentleman is telling us about like fairy hills. And I remember asking him, like, do you like believe in fairies at all? Like, does anyone actually? And he was like, yeah, keep your voice down. Seriously. Like,
I have to live here.
Right there. And that was just really cool. And I also think like being there, the land does have this like almost like mystical thing. Like I went to the Outlander Rock. That was like, outside. So yeah, that was amazing. I'm trying to think, did I have like any juicy Google? Oh, okay, I Googled fire safety, which if you've read the book, you'll get why that made me laugh. I was like, can I make fire safety sexy? And like, you tell me if I succeeded.
Oh yeah. Okay, so if you know me, you know I love a game. So what we're gonna do is occasionally I'll have you pull out something out of here, and you tell me which character you think corresponds with whatever is on there.
Okay.
So let's do one of those now. They're a little sticky.
Okay.
Wonder what we get.
If they were an animal, would be a bat.
Yes. Who would be a bat?
Okay, what do I know about bats?
This is all just vibes.
I'm
not scientific at all.
Because like I hope you don't have any geography questions.
No. Just vibes. Just vibes.
Okay, a bat. I feel like small and sort of like dark, but actually very sweet. So I'll go with Clark. I feel like he like thinks that he has all this darkness, and he's like looking. I shared this meme where he's like looking in the mirror. He's like, no one can know how much I need love. And that's like sort of the vibe. So I'll go with that.
Clark the friendly bat. Okay. Okay, so I thought it was interesting how parental relationships impacted how they interacted with each other. Could you just talk about that a little bit, and why you thought that was something you wanted to incorporate in the story?
Yeah, I knew that I wanted Clark to be a disgraced archaeologist and for him to have this scandal. And I think in order to add weight to sort of this professional failure, I wanted to make it a personal failure as well. So having Clark's dad also be an archaeologist who has built up a name in the community, who has actually sort of gotten to like break out of archaeology and become like almost mainstream by like optioning kind of like the film rights to like a famous dig that he did and stuff like that. I felt like, okay, the failure will be like that much more acute because there's sort of this family mantle to hang up. And I thought that it would be like an interesting parallel to Riley in that he is very much like worried about this thing that he's lost, and she's never had it, right? She's still chasing success. She's still chasing a lot of the things that he had experienced and sort of taken for granted. He went to a prestigious university. He's got these degrees. He's got this pedigree of a family name, and her family's never gotten paid for being curse breakers. And, in this economy, like you gotta. So, I just thought like putting them at very different points in their career where he's sort of like, he's been at a high and then fallen, and she's on more of an upward trajectory would be interesting. And her family, I wanted her family trauma to sort of mirror the rejection and skepticism that she's facing from Clark. So Clark does not believe in curses. Who among us? And you had to make them enemies really quickly in this book, and I wanted them to kiss before they became enemies. So I had to like make them kiss real quick and then make them hate each other.
Which, by the way, is one of my favorite things when it's like oh, we hit it off so well, and then I find something out about you, and now I hate you. Yeah, eat that stuff up.
So I think like it had to be sort of triggering, like when he rejects like what she's trying to do, it had to feel like a deeper cut. And so giving that parallel to her relationship with her family, or her father specifically, not accepting not only her, but sort of her whole line of curse breakers in the matrilineal line, I think achieved that means to an end.
Yeah. And I also thought it was interesting that it was matrilineal.
Yes.
Yeah. So much to talk about there, but I do want to ask you, what is your favorite Riley Clark squabble, as non-spoilery as you can be?
Okay.
I will say mine is angry massage.
Oh, that's so good. You know, my editor really like, I had to fight so hard to keep that in.
What?
Like, say like, is it believable that someone would give someone else a massage to prove they're not attracted to them? She's like, I feel like we are narratively making a leap. And I was like, it's a romance novel. I'm gonna do this. And I think we got there in the end.
Yes.
So
hilarious.
Just know that I fought. And I actually enjoyed like the pushback, because I got to make the dialogue like more and more ridiculous in order to facilitate that. My favorite squabble is when I am getting ready to write a book, I also feel like I have certain scenes that I want to get in there. Sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not. But I really wanted to do like knife to the throat, kind of like historical or fantasy romance moment between enemies to lovers, but make it contemporary, which is kind of hard to do. Like, why do they have knives? Is it okay that they have knives? But it was in this situation, they find a cursed dagger, and curses make them do stuff. So that was very important to me. So I really like the banter that they have over the dagger of like, is this sexy? Is it dangerous? Maybe both. Why not both?
Sexy and dangerous dagger. Okay, I think it's time to pick another.
I'm gonna go for like maybe a little towards the bottom. Oh
yeah, they're like sticking to each other.
Sorry,
what do we have?
I don't want to put it in my bosom.
Okay, how about that? I mean, it's a romance crowd. We're here for it.
Orderly.
Who's orderly?
I mean, I feel like it's definitely Clark.
It's gonna be Clark. Yeah, Riley I agree.
I describe her often as just like chaos. I think he actually says that to her. Like, are you not chaos personified? She is very reckless. I imagine her car is just like filthy, just like layers of sort of like takeout containers, which again, I'm not doing that, but I feel like for her, yes.
So I want to ask you, what do you think would be your approach to breaking a curse? You know, she has different things that, different ways and steps, essentially. So I'm curious, what would be your approach?
I feel like it's somewhat similar to Riley in that, like, I am a framework girly. Like, I like kind of to lay out a process and to use that to, like, validate. The way it would be very dissimilar from Riley is I am adverse to danger. Like, she is fully like running towards danger constantly in a way that makes me and Clark very nervous. So I think like I would need a partner that was willing to, like, I don't want to give any spoilers, but like go into a dark cave with like nobody knows what's in there. Like, a lot of people have died there maybe. So I'm not doing that is what I'm saying. So yeah, I think I'd be more of, and I'm not even good at research. This is what I'm not. I don't think I would be great
unless
at
it's Reddit.
Unless it's Reddit, AMA is the shortcut to professional expertise.
I don't disagree with that, actually. I've learned a lot of things that way.
Yeah.
Okay, this would not be a Rosie Danan event if I didn't ask you about sex scenes.
Okay,
so
great.
I am curious. Anatomy of a sex scene, Rosie Danan. What
pun? Yeah. But yeah, fun.
I walked into that. Okay, yes, we're gonna stick. I think that works well. It's anatomy of a sex scene. Yeah, like, how do you approach this? I just feel like you do it so well. Tell us your ways.
Okay. Well, step one is dissociate from your body. Like, no. So I I do think you have to be in the right mindset. And actually last night they asked me, like, how do you kind of get into that mindset? And I was like, I have a lot of crushes on a lot of hot people. I think like I am just, it's very easy for me to have like a crush on someone. And so I just try to channel that horny energy into sex scenes, like a little engine, you know? I like see a picture of someone online. I'm like, oh, I'm putting that in my little horny engine. And then
I just want to take a picture of Andy J. Christopher's face right now. Y'all can't see it.
No. Horny engines,
the TM horny engine.
But no, I think like more seriously, if like people are actually trying to like, I don't know, approach this from a craft perspective, I try to really make the sex scenes as unique to the characters and the environment as I can. So I hope, and hopefully I can maintain this through my career, that like none of my sex scenes are interchangeable. And often they're like very tied to the plot. So like in some of my earlier books, to kind of avoid spoilers for this one, like a lot of the scenes in The Roommate are tied to what they're pursuing, right? So like, you know, the sort of catalyst moment for steaminess in The Roommate arguably is that Clara, who's the main character, finds out that she has a roommate who's a porn star. And she does what any of us would do, don't lie. She waits till he leaves and she Googles him with safe search on. And he, of course, has to like walk in and he's like, that's my butt. So
my grunt.
Okay, so this then opens up the like a sex scene opportunity. So it's that kind of thing where I try to think about like, how can I make it happen only once so that they're memorable, right?
Yeah.
Because romance is full of sex scenes. And that's why I really like, it's almost funny to say, but like that is one of the parts of the craft that I take maybe the most seriously, because I just think like that one, it's fun. I love my job. But two, I think like to portray that part of intimacy can unlock so much in the dynamic between characters.
I feel it. I totally feel it when they aren't interchangeable.
Yeah, right?
They really aren't. When you said that, I was like, no, we can't put that into this book at all. It doesn't work. So good job. Great job. I will say I have to give this anecdote, which is the funniest thing to me, which is one of my coworkers. Someone was like, oh, I really need a book that's like about moving and like relocating, and they hadn't read The Roommate, and they were like, oh, this would probably be great. And I was like, yeah, they moved.
Well, that's what I thought you were gonna say. Like, oh, it's about like physical choreography or something.
Literally, oh yeah, I'm moving to a new town, and like, you know what? And I'm like, sure.
Like, if there's like a heaven, it may just be me watching people discover what that book is about for the first time. Because that really, the idea of that brings me so much joy.
Yeah, I really wish I could have been a fly on the wall when they started reading their book about moving. And I'm like, yeah. I think
emotionally she is concerned with it for a lot of the books. So hopefully that person found what they were looking for. And then
let me just say, they never came back and complained. So something went right.
You can like move it to your like self-help and just like have like a moving like life transition.
I think it's time for another. Yeah. They're all stuck together. Here we go. Let's see what we have.
Brilliant.
These are so tame. I'm annoyed. Why did I do that? I should have
not picking the sexy ones. I think like Clark would say that this has to be about Riley. And I think that I really appreciate that because again, like he has this Oxford doctorate and you know, she feels really insecure about the fact that she never finished college and like nobody really believes what she can do. Like at sort of best, often people think that she's like a very talented con artist. That's sort of what he thinks in the beginning. So the fact that over the course of the book, he really starts to like appreciate all of the ways that her brain works. And she is amazing at solving problems and sort of like unconventionally. So I will say that brilliant is for her.
Oh, how sweet. Okay, so do you think that Clark loves archaeology as much as Riley loves curse breaking? Do you think they're equal in their passions for their work?
That's a good question. I'm gonna say no, in the sense that I think that curse breaking is like a part of Riley. And there, I would actually argue that like the book almost makes the case that like while there are parts of archaeology that Clark loves and is really talented in, that it has not always brought him joy. I think because he lives in his father's shadow,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And that's always, and his father has all these expectations for his career in archaeology. So I think that like what I was actually kind of trying to set up is that he can take those skills, and she kind of says to him like, you will still be a good man even if you're not an archaeologist. And like I can't give, but what I'm gonna say is like a total spoiler, so I'm just gonna be quiet. But I will say, yeah, I think definitively like you couldn't remove curse breaking from Riley's literal DNA. But I believe that Clark can find happiness in other fields potentially if he wants to.
Okay. All right. Well, I have I
Should I
think
try to find a dirty one?
I mean, you know, yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's see. Just as bold, but no. It's really sweet again. It says lovable.
It's fine.
Yeah, do you want to find?
No, that's what's meant to be.
Okay.
Destinee believes in destiny. Yes.
So I will, because I kind of did like Clark, like hyping up Riley. I will do Riley hyping Clark on like why he is lovable. I think like one of my favorite things in this book is that Clark like is a very brooding sort of like Mr. Darcy English repression kind of character, and he like adopts a cat but refuses to acknowledge that he has adopted the cat. And I just think of this like him just being really lonely, and this cat comes in and starts to spend time with him, and him just being like, it's fine, like trying to move because he doesn't want the cat to leave. Like that kind of moment just really gets to me. Like I think it was so important to me to prove, me and the cat are trying to prove to him that he's worthy of love.
Oh,
and
I think you
Although
do.
I almost didn't give the cat a happily ever after. Nothing was gonna kill the cat. I wasn't gonna
Like,
kill the cat.
no.
I just kind of forgot about the cat, to be honest. I don't think like maybe the cat is fine. I don't know. But like one of my early readers was like, what's happening with the cat? Where's the cat? So yeah, my one friend Jen is the reason that the cat gets a happily ever after.
Thank you, Jen.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I have so many questions. Anybody in book club will be like, that chick always has questions. But what I'm going to do is we're going to play a little game. Audience, start thinking of questions that you might have for Rosie. And then we'll switch to them. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you some situations.
Okay.
And you have to tell me which of your couples or from your books.
Yes.
It doesn't just have to be Riley and Clark. You would want in this situation and why.
Okay.
Okay. Starting off easy. Road trip. Who are you picking?
Okay. I'm like now thinking about all of them. Am I in the car? Is that like...
Your Rosie is in the car. Yeah. Who do you want to go on a road trip with?
I feel like I don't want it to be Josh and Clara, because I feel like even though Clara gets better at driving, I feel like she has like an I'm anxious enough, girl. So then I have Naomi and Ethan, or I have Clark and Riley. I am gonna go Naomi and Ethan. I feel like they're gonna have the calmest energy in the car, and also like interesting things to talk about, and probably some good playlists. I feel like again, Clark and Riley have more chaos energy than I want in a moving vehicle.
I agree. I mean, definitely not Clara. Like, homegirl, no.
I'll meet you there.
Okay, you are doing the Amazing Race, and you who are you going on the Amazing Race with?
I'm such a liability. Like whoever this is, like, so sorry. Okay, let me think. Have not really written anyone that I'm like, they would be great at like, you know, directions and like speaking other
I'll tell you who I would pick.
Okay, please.
I am totally team Riley and Clark, just because I feel like they would help solve the mysteries and like solve the puzzle.
Yes. Okay. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, professionally, and like special skills, I think best deployed there. Yeah.
Yeah. They'll be like, oh, there's a clue.
Both of them and not one of them.
Yeah. You get a 2 for her.
Yes.
Okay. So who would you trust? Like if something happened to you and you had to go to the emergency room, who do you think would be the best couple to have, like, I don't know, great bedside manner?
So funny. Again, because I write opposites attract. So for every one of these questions, it's like one of them is helpful and the other is a liability in the situation. I'm gonna go again with like Ethan and Naomi. I feel like calm, and again, like sort of like different energies. Like I feel like if I were stressed out, either Ethan would like explain to me like why things were gonna be okay, or Naomi would be like, do you want to hear about the time I like had sex with a celebrity? And I'd be like, yes,
I'm distracted. Okay, I have 2. I got a lot more, but I think we'll do 2 more. So you've committed a crime.
Oh my gosh. How did you know?
Okay, which of your couples would you want to like either help you bury a body, like try to get rid of the evidence, like, and you know that they've got you?
I think this is another good Clark and Riley. Clark's really good at digging. And Riley's not afraid to break laws.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I think that they're going to be good accomplices for that.
Yeah, I feel like Ethan would probably have too much of a moral compass.
Morally, he's not going to feel good about that.
He's like, no. Although I feel like Naomi would be good at keeping a secret.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Always like one liability.
Okay, the last one. We're going to get this by the hook or by the crook. A threesome. Who would it be?
I have written a threesome with some of these characters, like which you guys can read. I'm actually gonna take it offline, so if you want this scene, you should get it.
Where's Kate at? I'm sure
it's with Clara, Josh, and Naomi. And you can get it if you go to any of my link in bio, in any of my like social profiles or whatever. You can go to like shameless bonus shorts and you will get it for free. But yeah, I had to do it. You know, they're all bisexual. They got that bisexual energy. So there you go.
There you have it, people. So at this time, we are ready for audience questions. So yes, go ahead. And I'm going to repeat the question for the virtual audience. Also, virtual audience, if you have questions, you're good too.
Yeah, I can kind of repeat it in my I'm so glad you asked this question, because like the little curses that Clara breaks before she kind of tackles the one on Arden Castle is one of my favorite things that I kind of like wrote into her character backstory, because again, I really do feel like the world is more cursed than ever, and when my approach to magical systems in general, I think is very rooted in realism, and so like one of the reasons I was again attracted to this idea of curses is like, wouldn't it be nice if there was like an explanation and something we could attack for some of these things that feel really oppressive in the world? So you know, some of the things that she like breaks the curse on like a high school football team like who's been losing for decades, and she specializes in like sort of bad boyfriend curse breaking. So if you've got like a record, she will help you with that. I'm trying to think if I cut any of that. Oh, cursed dolls is like a specialty of hers. Like a big
I did not like that part. Ooh.
Yeah, I had fun writing that. So I squeezed it all in, probably more than I needed to. But yeah, so I don't think any of that was cut. But I could come up with more examples of curses for sure.
Oh, audience question or a virtual audience question.
Riley and Clark were to meet your roommate universe characters, how do you think that would go?
If Riley and Clark were to meet your roommate universe characters, how do you think that would go?
Yeah, I think that Clark and Clara, and now I'm like, their names are similar. Did not do that on purpose. Attracted to CL. Would have like a lot in common, both being like academics and also like very concerned with safety. And I think Josh can get along with like a slice of bread. So I think that would go well. And Riley has been a bartender in addition to curse breaking, so I feel like she can get along with anyone. So yeah, I think it would go well. I can't imagine any like fisticuffs emerging from that situation.
Cool. I think I saw someone over here. Okay, so it's Susan and then Elizabeth.
So you mentioned anything recently that you're
Any recent paranormal media that you were a fan of?
Nothing's coming to mind. I have like started watching some. Excuse me. Yeah, I watched some paranormal. That's my best friend Ruby, who this book is dedicated
here,
to.
who the book is dedicated to.
Yes, who also writes really beautiful romance. I'll talk about that later, maybe. And she's saying that I should talk about like some of the paranormal. It's still older properties, so I have watched like Teen Wolf in the last like 2 years. Actually, but I haven't really. I just got really into the Teen Wolf fandom, but I did not like the TV show at all. That is a terrible program. There's some redeeming things in it, but anyway, I'm so sorry if anyone loves it. Anyway. And I also watched a little bit of Supernatural more recently, but I got like 4 episodes. I don't know. So the answer is unfortunately like no, but I would like more. What's going on? What can you give me some rest?
Susan says this is a golden age for fantasy. Do say more. Wheel of Time.
Okay.
Is Susan recommending books?
I did enjoy a few episodes of Lockwood. No, okay. You stood up. That's how strongly you thought about that. Okay. Okay. Yes, I will get back into that. I liked that a lot. Okay. Thank you for the recommendation.
Yes. People at home, Wheel of Time TV show apparently is the biz. Elizabeth. Speed or The Mummy? Brutal.
I am gonna go The Mummy. I love Speed, but like I love every single character in The Mummy, and I mainly love the main couple in Speed. And Jeff Daniels.
Even The Mummy?
Yeah, The Mummy's hot. Everyone in that movie, like 99% of people in that movie are very hot to me personally.
Yes, over here.
Okay. What my current paranormal romance recommendation is the Interview with the Vampire TV show.
Oh, I have heard that's
Interview
really
of the Vampire TV show with snaps.
Thank you. Yes.
What romance are you reading right now and loving?
Yes. So some of my favorite, I love Kate C. Wells. I don't know. She's indie. Yeah, she's indie, and she is just somebody that is writing everything that I thought I would never pick up in a romance novel, and I love it from her. So she writes like motorcycle gang romances. She writes mafia romances. She wrote Secret Baby that I loved. Like, no, I've never picked up any of those tropes. And if you're sitting there being like, I don't know if that's for me, like, you need to read Kate C. Wells because she's incredible. So that's sort of like one of my always recommend auto by authors. What am I reading right now? I hate kind of recommending books that aren't out yet, but I will put one on your radar if that's okay. I just read Olivia Dade's February book, At First Spite, and it is one of my favorite romance novels. It is also like doing something in its portrayal of a character with depression that I have not really experienced in this way before, and it's so powerful and moving. Cried on a plane, which is one of my favorite things to do. So I really recommend that. That's coming out in February. And then I can talk about my best friend Ruby.
Ooh la la.
Do you have the art? Can you just hold it up so people can see how pretty it is? Okay, she's gonna get it while I
Ruby, Helene,
well, maybe
Rose,
I think
could you help her get in?
But in addition to being my friend, Ruby is one of my favorite romance novelists.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
there it is. Oh yeah. What, can you bring it forward? We're, virtual audience wants to see too. Come on, Ruby. Come on down. Come on down.
Did you think this
it's a family event now? Look at this.
Thank you. Ruby's next book also comes out in February. It is The Friendship Study. It is about these two beautiful humans who are somehow lonely. They don't have any friends. Okay. And they join a friendship study. Sorry to be gesturing with my middle finger, I think a little bit there. And the one rule of the friendship study is no hooking up. They are some very creative rule breakers, these two. But in addition to being very steamy, which Ruby is known for, it is also, my blurb on the back says, this is written with tremendous care for anyone who has ever felt lonely. So if that is you, I recommend picking up this book.
I love this.
This is out in February as well. February Powerhouse Month. In addition to that,
February gonna be lit. Okay. All right. Wait, I'm excited for February.
I read Nisha Sharma's Tastes Like Shucker pretty recently. So good. Like Queen of Ensembles. I was like, can you tell me how you build these like huge families that, and everyone is so like distinct and adding to the plot and like making this wedding planning business like so dynamic? And she was like, it's easy for me. I don't know what you mean. I was like, oh, I'm crying, Nisha. But it's so fun and will make you very, very hungry. The hero has like amazing recipes that he's constantly doling out in that one. And I also, if you're a YA fan, my friend Susan Lee had a book, The Name Drop, come out recently that is both like a hilarious YA rom-com, but also will make you ready to quit your job. So if you're like on the fence about quitting your job and you want something to just like push you over the edge, maybe read The Name Drop. For now. No.
I think we have time for 2 more questions. One for the audience that's here in person, and then for the hologram people. Let's go hologram. A genre that you have not written yet that you think would be fun.
Great question. I mean, I think probably always write romance, so it would be like another subgenre of romance. Not fantasy though. That seems hard. So we got paranormal. It
does seem like a lot of work.
Yeah, I know that I will do this, but I think this would be cool if I figured it out. I love a cowboy romance. Like, should I try to do that?
I think we would all read it. So yeah. I like that. Okay, one more question from the audience here. Don't be shy. Okay, yeah, we'll go ahead.
Like this is kind of similar, but can you tell us what you're working
on? Oh my gosh. Well, they told you in the room at this one, so maybe a little bit
more. Can you tell us what you're working on next?
So it does have some light paranormal elements, but sort of like Do Your Worst, it is very much, I would say, like, again, like our world, but with like one magical element. So like one factor, one variable shifted. How would that change our lives? I think that it is hopefully my funniest book yet. Like, I am making myself laugh a lot. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. I will tell you that like one of the scenes I had to cut from Do Your Worst was like Clark tied to a chair, like without his shirt on. And I've tried to shoehorn that into the new one.
The people in the back are happy.
I hope that works out and stays in the final draft. And the last thing I'll say is it is an ode to like loving supernatural properties and the fandoms associated with them. So if that is something you're into, maybe you'll like this one.
Waiting with bated breath. Can we have a huge round of applause for Rosie
and for Destinee for being an amazing
writer? This was so much fun, and I hate to make it end, but we're getting to even more exciting part, which is meeting Rosie. Yes, we're gonna do a picture. We will do
How are you gonna do like a 360?
Okay, so how do you want this to, we are being directed here. So Ruby, do tell us how you would like this to work.
Copy of the book.
Your book in the air. Oh yeah. I'm gonna get it on this action as well. Okay, are you gonna start?
You want me to say something?
Are we wanting to get hype? Is that what it is? She just said, or should they say boobies?
Yeah.
What do we want to say?
Horny engine.
Horny engine. I don't think they repeated horny engine, but we'll let them pass.
Oh my God.
Okay, so we'll take a picture here, and then we're gonna take about 5 minutes in a moment, not yet, channeling my former teacher life. We're gonna fold up our chairs and put them on the side, and in about 5-ish minutes, we're gonna start the signing line over where you see Lainey Rose, right standing over here, our fabulous events manager, and then we're gonna get the signing going. So sit tight for just a second. I'm gonna have you.
Oh, can I announce something while you're?
Ooh.
It's not that wild. It's not that wild.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I made it too hype. I thought we've done this at a couple events and it's been fun. As you're like coming up to the signing line, if you can think of like a celebrity or a public figure, whoever, who you'd either want to kiss or curse, and then you can tell me and we can talk about that. And that's been fun. So if you have a kiss or curse celebrity that you want to chat about, we could do that. Yeah, and you could think about it. And some of them have been really hard. Somebody asked me Draco Malfoy, and I don't know. Somebody cursed
Draco
him.
Malfoy, what they want to do?
Like kiss or curse. You got to pick. And I know there's some latent.
Oh, they asked you that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay,
I
got it.
make a final deliberation.
Ooh.
Oh, Shia LaBeouf, we cursed.
Cursed. Cursed.
Joshua Jackson, we cursed. He knows what he did.
Some non-negotiables.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do a photo and then, yeah. Thank you again, virtual people. I hope you had fun.